Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Altcoin Mentors YouTube channel. My name is Peter, and today I'm going to be talking about my current swing trade positions. So for those of you who don't know or who are very new to trading, a swing trade is a trade that lasts overnight. It can last anywhere from a couple of days to a couple of weeks. So a couple of days ago, I was talking to one of my buddies who trades cryptos, and he's a very good crypto trader. And he told me that the trend over the last couple weeks, in his opinion, is that for some reason around midnight, 1 in the morning, things tend to change. Trends tend to change in some of the cryptos. So I thought I would look into it. So before I went to bed last night, I put in a few orders. I saw a couple of color changes, some things that were bouncing off of some nice support area, sorry. And I put in some orders on 5 cryptos, and I only got filled on 3 of them. The reason why I only got filled on 3 of them is because I always put in a stop limit order, which means that the stop stands for it has to first hit that number first. So that means that there has to be an executable trade at a certain number, and then a limit order goes into effect for a certain price. So for me, I like to actually hit that number right in the dot. So sometimes some people will put an offset, like plus or minus, usually like minus $10 or $20 on Bitcoin, because that's usually like a tick. And then this way, if they get hit at a certain price, they're willing to pay a little bit more, up to $10 or $20 to be able to enter that price. For me, I like to get filled at my price exactly, so I don't have any offsets. So that's just my personal preference. That's why I only got filled on 3 of them. So on the 4th and 5th ones, one, if I had put in an offset, I could have gotten filled and it would have been a small little winner. But on the other one though, if I had gotten filled, it would have actually turned into a loser later on in the day. So that's why everything has its pluses or minuses, and it's up to you to make a decision on what type of orders that you put in. But the other thing I always do is I always put in a bracket order, which means that I have a target to the top and a stop loss, a stop market order to the bottom, which means that it has to hit that price, and then it puts in a market order to get me out. That is a worst case scenario type of situation, but it's only to just protect myself, just in case things just go the wrong way in a very short amount of time. So let's talk about my first trade. It's Bitcoin. It's one of the things I trade for a long time. I've been trading it pretty well. So last night, the medium-term trend changed from a short to a buy long. I had a color change, and if you know me and if you're watching some of the videos, what I generally like to do is I like to put in a order at the top of the candle. So let's zoom in. At the top of the candle and maybe a tick or 2 above. So for Bitcoin, a tick can be anywhere from $1 to $5 to $10. So generally, I like to put it at $10 because the range at $1, $2 is sometimes a little bit too small, and I like to give it a little bit more space. So I got filled at 10,605. I entered. I went to bed. I have a trailing stop loss. I have a limit order. My target order is actually up here to the top at 11,700. So let me talk about my original stop. My original stop was all the way down here before at around 10,200. And then when I woke up, I moved it over to 10,300, 10,400, just scaled it up. And then currently it's at 10,700. The reason why I have it actually kind of tight, even though I think that it might go all the way up to 11,700, because that's what it did over here, is that just like what it did just the other day, it hit 11,000, which is a major resistance, and it bounced right back down. So I want to be careful of that. So I'm willing to give up a little bit of profit in order to make more up to the top, and maybe more possibly to the higher time frame, which is 13,000. That's where I think it might ultimately go in the near midterm. So let's say like a month, in the next couple weeks to a couple months, because that is the range. So basically, 11,700 was where it was before. That number was hit way back here before in January, and you can see 13,000 was hit here before, also in January. So that's why everything goes in stages. That's why I'm looking forward to go over here. And if it does go to 13,000, then I think that, in my opinion, Bitcoin can go right back to the moon again, up to 18, 20,000, and maybe beyond it. Because once it does that and it stays there for a while, then it will turn back into a long-term bull. And then other exchanges that only allow long positions, people can re-enter the market with a little bit more confidence and then really drive the price of Bitcoin up. So this is my setup over here on Bitcoin. I'll show you one of my favorite coins I've been trading lately, which is Litecoin. The reason why I like it is that I don't have to watch it too much. It's very, very gentle. Things go usually just in one direction, which has been up recently for the last few weeks. I'll show you that chart here. It's been going higher and higher and higher. So because of that, it's been a little bit easier to trade because this is something I don't have to monitor really closely. I can just look at it every hour or so and then move things up. Currently, I have it at a stop loss. So the other one was a trailing stop, which means that I currently have a profit. But this one I entered at 210.50. I put my stop loss at 205. It's currently at 210. So this is just a little bit about breaking even right now, and I'll just monitor it maybe closely over the next couple of hours. But my profit zone is somewhere between 245 and 260. That is my next target. It hit that before last week. I expect that to go up higher because for Litecoin, it's one of the few coins that have held up pretty well over the last couple of weeks. Hasn't had any big dips. It's been going in a very nice upward trend, but just very, very slowly, which is okay. The other thing I've been trading today, for the first time, I started trading Bitcoin Cash. So a couple weeks ago, I told you that I'm going to be monitoring and charting a few more cryptos, Bitcoin Cash, Neo, Ripple, EOS, Ether Cash, Dash, Zcash, and Monero, XMR. But for me, as a seasoned trader, I like to get to know the products that I'm trading very well. So I like to chart it on multiple time frames. I like to get good feels for not just range, but for spreads, volume, where the action is on certain days, just to really get to know it really well. So that's why I've been trying to swing trade a little bit more, because swing trading, you don't have to monitor everything. When you're intraday trading or if you're day trading and you're trading a lot of different instruments, then you really have to keep a close eye on stuff. And a lot of times, most of these things trade in a very similar cycle. So when one thing pops, then the other thing pops, and it becomes like a domino effect. And then you have to really, really watch everything in a very fast time frame. And then it's hard to make decisions, even for a seasoned trader, because you can get a little bit fluxed by so many things happening all at once. So let me tell you my reasoning for getting into this trade. So it bounced off of what I call major support, which is at 11,050. It did that once, it did that twice over here. And if it does that again, I think it can go to the last price it was at before, last week, which was about 1550. If it goes a little bit higher here, it can go into this area here around 1400. Where there would be a pretty good profit. But because I haven't really traded this, this is my first trade, I haven't traded it at all. I am trying to be very careful with this. So as I've been making money, I've been trailing it pretty tightly. So this one I have a trailing stop at 1250. So to give me a very small profit. Currently it's at 1279. It was as high as 1305. So I've been giving it some room, a little bit larger than the 4-hour ETR, because I'd like it to see it go to the 1400 to 1550 area there. And anywhere in this space, if I take a profit, I'll consider this my first trade on Bitcoin Cash a huge success. So I hope you're trading well today. Remember that the range over the last couple of weeks have been very, very tight. So you have to pick your targets and stay patient. Have a good night.